Saturday.
Hello, surprise. It's us.
It's us. For those of you who are sleeping in and being awoken, we're here on an
We're here
unusual
on a
day.
Saturday.
Instead of a Sunday, Ananobi.
It's um it's very exciting here in our town because it is the annual used bike swap at our local you know, our local outdoor store, and there are lines up the sidewalk.
Shout out Onion River Sports. If you want to sponsor us, you can do that. But it looks like your business is doing pretty well today.
But yeah, it's just very. It's there's something like sweet. They just now open the gates. There's like people line up and then they open. They whatever, and then people can come in. It seems like it's in the parking lot, right?
I
Or
think
something.
so.
Or yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So we just wanted to give you that public service announcement.
Well, but also it's just like I feel like there's something so specific about it here. For it's like it draws a lot of people, and
Yeah.
um, so I don't know. You have a lot of interesting stuff on your bottom teeth, like just um, yeah. So I could start with something.
Sure, I could start with something too.
I'll just this is I think like I felt really uh um was up very early, like my usual time, and I feel, as I often do, like a whole bunch of like a have happened inside me, since the time I've woken up to here, and I felt like I was like underwater, and there's like, if you ever snorkel or like open your eyes underwater in the ocean, how there's like, I just feel like I've been kind of moving things aside, and like there's just all this stuff, and I've been kind of more witnessing myself this morning and trying to not get caught up in things, and because I've been, like, yesterday I was projecting, and it's just annoying, to project. So, projecting and going back to my dream place, and just like it wanting to really, like, pretty much consistently having to do that, because the one part of my dream place, my work right now, is to feel this really incredibly vulnerable love, like how loved I am in this incredibly vulnerable way, and how seen I am, and how excruciating that is, like how deeply seen I am, by, in my dream, the animus, and I've been feeling into like that, and then the second part of my work is to bring in the fear, this terror fear, this trauma fear, that for me has to do with speaking and really being who I am, just relaxed and fully. This is how I am here. It's like I'm relaxed and fully myself just like able to just, I don't think, and I'm just, and so in the dream it was very dangerous. Uh, so I think for some reason, like, I don't know, that dangerous stuff is, that part of it is really up. So,
The feeling of the danger.
yeah, the feeling of the danger and the lack of safety, and so that fear, the fear that wants to get projected onto things, like right now, this morning it was like, I'm about not being a good mother, and me not, like, Wake not having what he needs, and trying to really blame, like, really it started to like really turn back and get nasty, which is, I really is part of the dream, and this specificity of the danger was actually this very they came as a group of characters from a movie, who like skin people alive, who are just very very like cruel, very very cruel. So you know, it kind of lines up. I do have a cruel kind of pathology, like a cruel protector who, like,
will skin you alive.
where it would really come back at myself. Like, I very, very rarely, continually to this day, very rarely, like, does that comes back toward me. So, you know, so I've just been doing that, and I just, somewhere in this morning, it was very helpful for me as it is to, it's just so painful. I just want to say, like, it's really painful. Like the self-doubt that comes in and just like, it's just painful. So that's all part of it. So I feel like there's been a lot. I just feel very like a lot is, I feel very raw and open and like spongy in this way that is, again, for me, connected to me being who I am. Is like, I do feel very like an anemone or something, and it's very like porous and like wonderful, but and beautiful, and also then there's this other stuff, you know, when the projection wants to come in and when the fear comes in and how it wants to get managed and can be very like, it's like a lot can be coming at me at once. So it's like the love and the being seen is still present, and this love that is extremely reliable, like is here, and this other stuff can be here as well. So I guess I want to say, you know, I want to say that for anyone who has some sort of deep inner, you know, who's doing some sort of inner work, and that there's so much that can happen at one time. And it's like, my experience, that's one of the things that I never knew. You know, I knew it, but it was never mirrored back or spoken in my life, that, you know, that there can be so many things at once, and that the attack, that the sort of like the negative voices or the fear and that projecting, I can like also then judge myself for projecting, and that's a good one. And I haven't been doing that, but that is a thing. Like, and I spent years just like, I had to be this impeccable person who was just never projecting or reacting, which is completely ridiculous, because of course I was projecting and reacting, and I will until the day I die, for sure, you know. So it doesn't, it's not like that. But I learned, as I grew and I separated from myself, I learned that transactional, and in the household where I grew up, it was transactional love, and that's very much mirrored in the world of like, it's just like, if you do this, then if you are good. And you see it with babies, newborn babies, and the way people are. And people say, who've just had a baby, people will say like, oh, how are they as a baby? And then the parent says, they're a good baby. And what that means is that they sleep and they're like not a nuisance. They don't cry that much. They're not, you know, and it's just so, well, it's just so, it's just, that's, whether it is or not, that's what happens. That is the world we live in, is like, you know, and then you see it so much with kids as you get older. It's just all out there. So, you know, anyway, I'm here to say that that's, there's more, you know, and that there is a reliable love that is consistent and is unseen, is knowable but can't be seen, can only be felt. So, you know, it was very confusing for me as a child, and that's what I'm realizing on my way. The newest thing this morning for me is like the current that's been underwater with me as I'm swimming, is this current is, and it is a warmer current, is that there is this love, and there is, you know, everything can exist, and it doesn't mean that the love is not, you know, here. And I feel like there was another thing, you know, but I felt like a lot of, you know, I'm feeling like a lot of struggle, and I'm feeling like I'm in this real time of, it's like, as I'm in the struggle and the pain of it and the discomfort and just, a lot of pain on a lot of levels. There's that has to do with outer world stuff and letting go of things, and things really changing and shifting, and just the discomfort of that, and the lot, that sort of grieving of that, even though it's very positive that I'm making these changes in my life, and it's very difficult. The time that it's taking is extremely difficult, and I feel as though I am suffering, and I'm not to complain, but that is a part of it, is like, it's just difficult, because in an ideal world I would just be making the changes faster, but because of, like, whatever financial stuff and these very practical things, I'm not able to do that. So that's part of it. Is, but as I'm doing that, I'm also, like, realizing things kind of about my life. It's like I was running here and I was like, whoa, I felt like I was having these kind of, like, realizing how my life has been, and kind of the story of my life, or the trajectory of my life, has been such that I'm like, oh, now I'm here, and I feel like things are, as I'm weaving and projecting, reacting, as that's happening, there's this it's very dynamic. Been tied are actually naturally untangling themselves.
Can you give an example?
Well, that's kind of an example, is that how I went from this really feeling this reliable love and living in when I was a child, and living in this, there was just things I just never even considered to not be happening. Like, I just felt loved, and I never thought about it at all. I didn't even have words for it. It was like, and then something happened, like, probably was my grandma dying, and like, things started to fracture. So when I started to split, from that part of myself that really just knew I was loved, and never doubted it, and that doubt started to come in, and I started to really, really lean hard into that transactional of, like, well, okay, like, I got it real fast, like, okay, so if I do this, then this response is what I get. So, like, okay, and that it isn't love, but it was the closest, it was the best that my parents could do.
Well, it's being part of, right? It's like being seen. It's being like, there's like relationship there, whereas without the transaction, then there's no relationship.
I guess, yeah. I mean, yes.
Well, but that's what it is. I mean, like, from a attachment perspective, it's like the reason why it's appealing is because there's a connection.
Yeah.
This is a shitty one.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I on a felt sense, what I'm getting about it right now is, like, that I just was like, I am now not safe, so it's like, that's what I'm really,
so
like,
the transactions
feeling.
are about
so I think
creating
there's
safety.
Yeah, I think there's something about this dream and the fear and the trauma that it's bringing in that's, like, that's part of what I'm feeling, is I'm, like, going back to, it's connecting. It's like, there's a circuit that, like, where it's like a match to this part of my this lifetime life, where I was like, it feels really deep in there. Like, I'm like, oh, this is what it felt like, when I was a child, and and so that's why I'm like, oh, there's just, it's like there've been blanks or something. I don't know. I'm doing a terrible job. I feel like the last episode I was like, really meandering, but, like, it's because it's hard to talk about, and yet I'm here to say to you, and I hope you can feel it. It's real. Like, it's, even though it's hard to talk about, something very real is happening. And and that's part of what's also happening, is I'm like, I don't understand it, but I'm like, oh shit. Whatever process I'm going through right now is, like, important, like, Um, and it's like so funny. I feel uncomfortable saying that, like as though it's my ego being like, me, I'm important, but I'm
Yeah, it's.
like there's something that I can't see that's happening,
Hmm.
and yet I can feel how there will be another side,
Hmm.
and then it's going to be really amazing.
Yeah, it's extraordinary, right? Important.
So
It's important and it's extraordinary. It's like that's the level of change, right?
yeah,
That
so I
is,
there's just
yeah.
something, and like yeah, my dreams are really like my dream last night. I don't, even my dreams, I'm like, wow, I don't know, but I really feel held.
Hmm.
Um, really feel held. And I don't. For me, I'm lucky because I don't have to understand. Like I'm just like, oh wow, I don't know what that dream is. That's so interesting,
Hmm.
and I don't need to know. I can just be like feel how I feel very tightly held right now of like um even though I also feel meandering. It's like so
Hmm.
there's a lot of this paradox crap going on, but
Hmm.
so I guess I just um in if you're watching these to to um to really get some things about this working your dreams and in this way that we do it and that we do with people, and there are these different moments where it's like I'm really in this moment that's like um really interesting because sometimes things can feel on the inside, and I know it feels this way in our waking lives as well, but how time seems to move really fast or things can move really fast, and it can feel that way sometimes in the inner world where it's like holy shit, like hang on to your hat. Well,
Like in
I
terms of like
just like
transformational.
something, yeah, something where you just go return to your dream place, or it's just like this quality that
Hmm.
and I don't feel that right now. But I feel like um, this other thing, and
Hmm.
so I'm here to speak to those experiences and to say, yes, yes, you
Hmm.
might not know what's happening, but something can be happening, and it's really like, for me, it's like similar to medicine. If you do plant medicine work or whatever, there's like a quality where it's like you're being taken, where it's like I'm not doing this,
Hmm.
this other thing is doing this, and
Uh-huh.
that's how it is, where I feel like I'm yeah. So, and I trust it, I trust it, and and I'm not crazy, so yeah.
Right. I'm wondering if there's a dream that you want to share in
um
relation to like what you're describing.
I mean, I don't want to um
If you don't, it's
yeah,
not.
I mean, I guess I will share my current dream place because the newer ones feel um I don't know, like
No,
yeah,
I'm thinking like you've been describing things really
yeah,
eloquently. I'm just wondering if there's like a dream that would exemplify, like your
yeah,
place that
yeah,
would exemplify.
yeah. Well, my places, I'm working two different dreams, and the one dream I'm in a warehouse space, um, like a huge open warehouse, and I'm in bed, like I'm just in bed, and then this man who's the animus, and I know he is, comes crawling, like crawling on top of the bed, and it's more like it's play, it's just like very relaxed and playful,
Mm.
and like or just like very sweet and intimate, like golly, just cuts so deep, this stuff, like the intimacy of it is really
Mm-hmm.
um tender, and he comes really close to me, like, and he's looking at me, and it's like I can just feel, I cover my face, like I can feel how deeply he sees me, and Like his love is so piercing, you know, and it's like everything. It's like everything I've.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I'm returning to. This is
Right.
what I knew when I was
Right.
young, you know, and just lived in and had. I was like always in this gaze with this
Mm-hmm.
other thing, you know,
Right.
and
It's so great because you're like the dream is exactly what you're talking about.
and I was always also like I didn't even realize this until right now, and which was like that was just a version of that was always happening. So like no matter where I was, I always had this moment
Mm-hmm.
that is in this dream. I always had it. I always had it, um, and all of my favorite times that I can remember when I'm a child were when I was alone. You know,
Mm-hmm.
because I had this thing. So and my grandma I think had a similar thing, so that's part of why when she died it was a and I was growing up and she died, it was really like a I didn't have a person who knew that
Mm-hmm.
thing. We always had that connection. So I'm like my work is to be in that gaze and feel the intimacy of it and feel like that like the depth of that love and that being seen. It's like beyond, there are no words to really describe it.
Mm-hmm.
And then also bringing in this other dream where you and I are talking about dreams and we're with other people, and it's like we're outside and it's
Mm-hmm.
like um, just very wonderful. Like everything feels very vibrant and alive. Like the nature, you know, is like feels very like a part of it, you know, and a part of what we're or I feel, I guess, part of my conversation or what comes up for me in the dreams and the things that I'm sharing with people is also coming from the plants and the trees and the earth um, and like that aliveness, and I feel very part of it. And then this group of like evil, of very very like dark,
Mm-hmm.
mean people who just kill people for the fun, for the literal fun, the absolute joy of it, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that they get, and they're and come
Mm-hmm.
and they come in and they're just sitting there and watching us. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they're sitting there and watching us. So then it's like to feel seen, feel that love from this man who I know so well, who knows me so well, and bring in that fear, that
Mm-hmm.
the feeling of danger, you know, and
Right.
which is like a trauma feeling for me. So
Mm-hmm.
that's so in a way, are people laughing? I'm laughing at myself because that is exactly what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
So in my my life has been the bringing together. Like my
Mm-hmm.
whole waking life and my experience right now has exemplified the bringing together of these places,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like so that's what's happening. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just that it's not just when I'm sleeping or just when I'm returning to my dream place very consciously. These things are happening. This convergence of these two places is really happening. I'm realizing now as I said that, and thanks for asking me to say, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm realizing everything I was talking about in the very beginning before I mentioned my dreams is the same thing. Is
Mm-hmm.
like, and that's what's happening. So I'm
Right.
in, and I can't, you know, I can't escape it. Not that I would want to, but it's like funny how it's like taking it's taken over. Like I just feel like I can't really not be in this process of these places, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's what's happening.
Nice. Welcome to the church. Welcome to the church of what's happening now.
Yeah.
Um,
Thanks for oh yeah, it's very tender and like um part of the thing with speaking and is the backlash or whatever to is like I'm like, oh, I took up so much time,
right, and then the
you know.
people with
Yeah, and
the
they're like,
Skinners are
yeah,
like
they're coming, they're
they're
standing up,
feasting,
yeah, exactly, they're standing up and walking toward me, you
mm-hmm.
know, in this moment.
Like almost as soon as you stop talking
Yeah,
or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then he's there with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so this is the work in action, I guess.
Welcome
So
to the church and what's happening now. Um, I feel like the things that I want to say, they're probably like you and I. There's some kind of overlap, and it's interesting too because I was in your dream and you were in my dream.
mm-hmm.
Um, so I just had a session for myself yesterday, um, as well as like the sessions with these amazing clients and how that also just sort of keeps things opening the doors. And I haven't had a new client for a while, and I had a new client who I didn't know in any context at all who came in this week. And I just want to say, like, who's really suffered for a long time, like really intense mental health, like every diagnosis and like ongoing, just like intense, I guess I'll just stay alive kind of thing, like really severe trauma, like, and this was just the first hour, but almost immediately had these two dreams, one of which was a lot of trauma and shame and being shamed, but then had this other dream of just this removing this thing from their knee, like this like thing, and the client could immediately just feel some relief, some like getting this thing at, like, which is showing up for the dream work is like whatever, knowing that there's this thing inside us that isn't us, like, so it's just like amazing from the first session to be able to feel how welcoming the dreams are into this process of healing. Like, it was just so touching. And it was also touching for me to be in a place of like healed enough in myself to just be grounded in what the person's experience was without any kind of agenda, or like just to be able to be really, really present. And then I had all these dreams this week, and I had a really, really rough time. So like 2 weeks ago, I was just like in severe trauma, like suicidal ideation, just like suffering in terms of this panic and fear, and I'm on the other side of it, which is great. And often when I've gotten to the other side of it, it's sort of like I'll bask in the relief of it, because thank God, you know. And I feel like a little differently now. Like, I feel like these dreams that I've had this week are very like not about the horizontal world, even though I'm sure there are ways that it interplays, but it's very like deeply in this other internal transformative experience that has very little to do with like the projections out onto the world, even though there's like an element of it. So one dream I had, I'm just in this thing, this feeling that I've had for so long of being in this room with like everything's kind of disorganized, and I can't focus on one thing. Like, this is disorganized over here, and I'm just trying, like, completely overwhelmed. I feel like people are going to come back into the room and judge it, and so all this just sort of like internal distress and chaos, which is the dream is the manifestation of that feeling that I've had for so long. Like, just this, I grew up in a lot of chaos, and so there's that, and I still continue to this day with like paperwork and other things I need to do, that this, it's my house and keeping things organized and all that, and so that's happening. And then a little fire starts, and at first it's like, whoa, and then I'm scared, but I put the fire out, thank God. But of course the fire is supposed to burn all of this stuff away, but I'm not quite there of like letting it burn, because there's like a vulnerability and fear in letting it burn. So just, I don't let it burn in the dream, and I can't just be like, I'm gonna let it burn, because that's not really where it is either, as much as,
and that's more spiritual bypassing
spirit, that
stuff.
would be spiritual bypassing. So that's happening. And then part of this dream though, like, I think that it starts with, or at some point I'm also going to be going off into space in like a rocket ship at some point soon, and it's so scary. And all these other people are going, and they're not scared at all, but I'm like so scared. But I'm not shying away from it. It's like that moment of stepping into something like a roller coaster or something like I'm gonna go.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a transcendent dream. Like it has such a story of transcendence because it's like
Mm.
literally going into another
Mm. Mm-hmm.
universe, world, space of that isn't my ego's construction of like my experience here. So it's
Mm-hmm.
really like woo. And I feel scared, but I also am not like,
Mm-hmm.
it's like I'm in this place of sort of this back and forth, but I'm so close to kind of going into this other
Mm.
place. And then I had this dream as part of going out into space. There are these people with swords and they're fighting each other. And it's sort of I know somehow it's connected to going out into space. It's not like for you like that separate entity of darkness coming
Mm.
in. It's like
Mm.
this is like part of it, and they're stabbing each other with these big swords. But I don't feel scared. I feel really curious. Like I'm not dissociated either. I'm just kind of
Mm.
curious about it, and so I can feel the contrast of all that pressure and anxiety is like being one of the, and there's blood everywhere, right?
Mm.
And so I'm able to feel the slicing of the swords, which, your brain would be like, oh, I can expect that this would feel X, Y, or Z,
Mm.
which is why I avoid the swords. But it just feels like ease. It feels like knives cutting through butter. It feels like just this ease. And so
Mm.
even though the dream, my experience of it in the dream is like blood and sword and like not good.
Mm.
It's like it just feels like ease, which is the exact. It's like such a contrast to like where is everything.
Mm.
It's like my body can just feel sliced and
Mm.
fucking relaxed, which is like so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And then I almost feel like this is all one dream, even though it was like
Mm-hmm.
over the course. So then I come across a family who are wearing all purple shirts. And my experience of that is like it feels very neurotic.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're all wearing these purple shirts so they don't get lost,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then I realize I have a purple shirt and I give them the purple shirt. Dun 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 dun. What's the mystery here in terms of like what I'm supposed to be doing in the dream, right? So that like projection onto this archetypal family
Mm-hmm.
is that they're neurotic,
Mm-hmm.
and my ego's like I'm not doing that, but of course I'm one of them because
Yes.
I'm one with the purple shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And so part of what I was able to do to just feel into what the difference was is I had a dream a week ago where um, this young black kid, 13-year-old kid, shows up at the door for wake,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, you're being rude, and push him away. But I could feel if I feel into the 13-year-old black kid being of the purple family, it
Mm.
also shifts.
Whoa.
Yeah, and then my therapist said this thing that was really interesting that I kind of had never. It's like a sometimes we get like facts about dreams or something, or like even though nothing means exactly what it would mean,
Mm-hmm.
but he was saying this information that was really helpful that I didn't have before, which was that and I don't know if this is scientifically based, but that purple is just before the spectrum of ultraviolet light, and that ultraviolet light is then right before the transcendent can't be
Yeah, it
seen
can't.
in
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
spiritual
Yeah.
universe. And it's like, so the purple, it's like this is like I'm just on the cusp of the purple family is one or two steps away from what it is to go out into space or be sliced open.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had another dream, but like I'm experiencing these all as one dream that is just shifting.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm out on a fire escape about 2 or 3 stories up over a bay of water, and I see this dolphin, swimming, and I'm kind of amazed. And then you're there also, and I'm like, Amy, there's this dolphin. Like it shouldn't be there, right? Like in my mind, I'm like, it shouldn't be there. I'm kind of amazed, and the dolphin kind of goes, I don't know, like 200 yards away, and then it turns around and it's there with another creature that is less dolphin-y.
Hey, come here. Come here.
And it gets to the bottom. It like gets to the bottom of looking where I'm looking, and it looks straight up at me, and I get really scared. And then it leaps up, and both you and I are covered by these creatures. We're just like they're on top of us, and I'm like scared, and your Amy is like, this is awesome. Like you're just like under the dolphin, and you're like, I'm staying here, and I'm kind of like, what the fuck, and that kind of speaks to kind of what you're talking about. Like you've been able to experience this depth that I never had as a kid. Like so, the trust that you have in the transcendence is like being modeled as you as the anima in the dream of like being under this thing. And so that's to me the fear that I feel when this creature looks up at me is not trauma fear. It's
Right.
archetypal fear.
Right.
And it's
Right.
like
Right.
it's like a different experience in my cells to like be there, and it leaps up. And of course there's all these ways my brain is like, nope, 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 like I'd rather try to get shit organized. Or and then I had this other dream where you're talking about how when you and I were together married, that you had these two words that I didn't know that you said, and the words were the experience of like being with somebody but not loving them. And I then feel this hurt around that, and then start thinking about how I really want someone to love me. Like I really, what would it be like to really have a woman who was in love with me? And I've had, I've been, again, it's sort of like, it's funny now that I say it, it's sort of like, I feel like I've been on the cusp of like these really loving romantic relationships in the world. Like I've been like close with where the person seems like there is some energy there that feels like they could love me, but they don't, and I don't know how much of it's a projection, right? But some of it feels like, whoa, this person who I'm severely attracted to also, right? But it's not quite clicking for whatever the universe's reason for that is. And so I can feel, instead of it being, why am I not lovable? Which is the old story. Like, of course, I'm pursuing people out of my league, or why would they, like, instead, what I just feel is the hurt. And so that's part of the sword cutting through in the blood, is feeling that hurt. Like, so that's just feeling, right? So the slicing through is part of that, where instead of going into like utter alone nihilism, which is what would happen because the shame would just hit me so hard and I'd be so alone, and of course I then project onto this family that it's neurotic, because I didn't have family. Like I literally grew up, I had a mother and a father, and I was the only child, and there was no sense of safety, family, anything, even like going out and doing something successfully. So it's bringing together this hurt that does correspond to some of my horizontal experience, but it's deeper. It's like this hurt feeling of not feeling loved, which of course all of us, 99% of human beings, project that out, wanting that to come in from an other person. And that's true. We'll see. Sure. All the eligible women out there, feel free to reach out. But it also is just about feeling this hurt, which I can tie then to the sword, so it becomes dynamic. It becomes like energy, as opposed to like the vampire suck energy, which then just leaves me feeling alone, angry at women who don't love me, and like pathetic, and like all of this stuff. So I can feel that, and then I also feel like these creatures. It's a dolphin, but it's like a dolphin plus. Like I just got my Ford Bronco, and I got the Ford Bronco with the Sasquatch package. It's like these are the dolphins with the archetypal, plug-in, and so I can feel that. So the two places for me are to feel the fear of this creature just down there, and it comes up. It's not like I don't run away. It like comes up and is right on top of me. But the moment is before that, and the fear of that, and then going back to you saying these words that I've never heard of, which makes it feel like that also is deeper. It's like Sanskrit or something. It's like there are words for being with someone and not being in love with them, but being with them. That there's like a holiness to that experience that has these words that are not like that are not English. They're not words, but they're like whatever I experienced you experiencing in our marriage of you not loving me in the way that I want, like, and that my sense of rejection, which ended up happening, right? Like, but to be able to feel the hurt of the not connecting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. And I also love, I'm afraid it's going to cut it. But we're at red, low battery. Just, I also really think it's notable where you said, you know, it's not trauma fear or whatever, it's archetypal fear. And that's like a really huge differentiation. You know, it's
Right.
they're very, I don't know your experience, but my experience of those things are very different.
Well, trauma fear for me is really heavy and really nihilistic and paralyzing. It's so, because I'm so alone in it, and that's a little bit of what I went through last week. And this is different. This is like electricity fear.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the closest thing I can equate it with is like going on a roller coaster. But it's different because the roller coaster is like this huge hit and then it's over. And maybe that's a little bit of what healing is too, but that's the closest description, but it's not it.
Right. Well, that's a perfect way to describe it because they're different vibrationally.
Yeah.
Trauma fear and archetypal fear are very different
like
vibrationally.
My system is woken.
Right. So and the specifics of that is different for all of us. So, you know, but anyway, that's exactly it's cool.
Yeah. So oh shit, purple shirts.
Oh shit, purple shirts. And as y'all noticed, he's wearing
I may or may not have consciously chosen that. No, I kind of didn't. This was like the one shirt that was like clean and fit. So
nice.
Ananobi is waiting for us to go because he's like, the computer's about to shut down anyway, so we might as well go out into the sun and go eat all the people who are in line for their bikes. All right.
Okay, everybody. Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday. Enjoy.
See you next
And we're
week.
going to go see the Billie Eilish
3D
tonight. Documentary.
Yay.
James Cameron.
So exciting.
Yeah. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for being a human.